the national anthem, which of course is a piece of cake. But because that had not been our tradition, and we have not done this to any of the other nominees, if I did not say this, I'm moving that question or request be expunged. Because if it is not, and we rule that he will not recite it, it will look as if we have something to hide. It is irrelevant to the extent of the provisions of Order 52 sub 4, and I so move, Mr. President.
Sorry, Opayemi Bamidele is from Ekiti. So he was trying to say that they should not let Dele Alake recite the national anthem. Okay, somebody said he should recite that. I think another person also asked that he called the obedient mad dogs or something like that. How are they sure that he's going to treat all Nigerians equally with respect and all that stuff, blah, 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 blah. Those are part of the questions, but I call them out. But here is when Dele Alake had more to say. Again, it's about social media and the media entirely, what they are going to do. And this time around, they spoke with passion first. And Ekiti man, who is trying to fend, kind of guide him through all of that shark-infested water. Somebody said, where are the Labour Party senators? A big question. I haven't seen them. When I do, I'll share. But take a look at this. Dele Alake promising you what is still to come. All of you in the media, thank God, a lot of us are actually not in Nigeria. The people that are holding them in their jugular, a lot of us are not in Nigeria. So again, using the old bat eyes to look at what is today's challenges, the old hogs, the old arcs. They go meet us for a year. We go there. Let's go back in there, where he's passionately saying he will fight with every fiber in him. He will at it and Dele. Logba lecture lowo layamo. O papa going to oblivion. You would too.
Not necessarily to sing songs. So your point of order is sustained. Senator Jimikuta.
Mr. President, standing at the chair of the Committee of the Whole, my name is David Yesu Jimkuta, representing the good people of Taraba South, El-Rufai Kingdom. Mr. President, distinguished colleagues, having gone through
Mr. President, I rise under Order 8, sub 3, to move for an extension of time to enable the Senate sit beyond 2 p.m. so that we can finish all items on our order paper. I so move.
Minority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President, distinguished colleagues. I rise to second the motion moved by the Leader of the Senate. I so second.
Distinguished colleagues, the motion has been moved and seconded that these proceedings be extended beyond 2 p.m. Those in support of the motion say aye. Those against say nay. The ayes have it. Yes, Senator Jimikuta. And immediately after Senator Jimikuta, I would like to end with Ekiti. So I'll go back to either Senator Adaramodo or the Senate Leader. But the Senate Leader has spoken enough. So Senator Adaramodo, after Senator Jimikuta, you say something, then he will answer so that we can go on to the next nominee.
Thank you, Mr. President. David Jimkuta, representing the good people of Taraba South, the headquarters of El-Rufai Kingdom. Mr. President, having gone through his resume, I want to beg my distinguished colleague for the nominee to take a leave of the Senate. Thank you, Mr. President.
Senator Daramodu.
Thank you. Yes, I will. Thank you, Mr. President, sitting as chair of the Committee of Whole. I'm Yemi Adaramodu, Senator from Ekiti South and from Ekiti State. In seconding the motion moved by my colleague, Senator Jim Kuta, that the nominee who has answered very seriously and positively and progressively the questions posed to him. Ordinarily, I'm from Ekiti State. Not only that I'm from Ekiti State, he's from the other constituency, which I even represent in this Kano Chambers, that is the media. And we can see him. He's a media legend, he's a media avatar. He has been on it for a very long time. And when we look at the resume, we will be convinced that he's going to do a human. And then we even say it, that the taste of the pudding is in the eating. In Lagos State, with our president, as he was then the governor of Lagos State, Mr. Dele Alake was the mouth, it was the trumpet that made all the human, all the feats in Lagos State to be known by Nigerians. And if we give him a bigger trumpet to blow in Nigeria, in that wise, it's going to make Nigeria very proud, and it's going to blow the feet to the world, to the global space. And finally, he's from the land of honor, Ekiti State. He's an ambassador of honor, and he's not going to renege on that. I will even put it to him that the National Orientation Agency must be revived, because go by those days when we were hearing, if you are a teacher, teach well. If you are a worker, work well. If you are a driver, drive well. So the National Orientation Agency under you, I know that is going to grow more wings this time and fly our orientation to every nook and cranny of Nigeria. Mr. President, we are very grateful from Ekiti State, and we are happy with his nomination and his screening today. And we are very sure that this annual chamber is going to confirm him to become a minister of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. Thank you.
So, Mr. Nominee, Ekiti has spoken, and nobody can say that Ekiti has been marginalized in the proceedings. So, but there are still a few questions that you were itching to answer before you take leave of the Senate. So the floor is yours.
Thank you, Mr. Senate President. The question which was asked from that side of the chambers on freedom of the press really touched me. And the man did a little bit of research, the distinguished senator, going back to 2005, when I was the first to bring a bill of Freedom of Information Act into the Lagos State House of Assembly, and did a public hearing, and it's all on record. And that exactly signposts my own deep convictions about press freedom in this country. Having been a practitioner, I am still a practitioner, because we have an aphorism in journalism that once a reporter, you are a reporter for life. And so I remain a reporter. And so the ideals, the tenets, the principles, the norms, and the mores of that profession, I am one of those who uphold it, who will uphold it assiduously with every sinew in my veins to make sure that press freedom is sustained in this country. However, to every privilege, there are responsibilities. I am not advocating an absolute press freedom without responsibilities. And I had a cause to say to some group of media men just a few days back that those of us who are gatekeepers, editors, managing directors, and all that, the gatekeepers have an onus on them. It behoves on them to regulate whatever comes out for the sanity of our society, because information is power. When information is irresponsibly purveyed, it can lead to cataclysmic events and destruction, chaos, social anomy in the society. So I am very, very vehement on responsibility aspect of the press, and I will uphold it to the very last atom of my breath. Thank you.
Said. So I wanted it to be said before I will stop the clip. If you are somebody who love Mayegun's show, right, then you must have no kind of a condition, so to say. You see all these clips, they are clips I personally selected, and I was going to share them. So if you are the type that is kind of like bored because you don't like their faces, then you just don't like Mayegun's show, all right? You can't have it both ways. You know, if you want to love Mayegun's show, then you probably have to just love everything that it comes, because they are not just random stuffs that I just drop them randomly. No, they are carefully selected, and you just have to do with them, or you just have to leave Mayegun's Diary Political. Unsubscribe. That saves you the breath. So you're going to see more of them, and you're going to see more extended videos like that. Okay. And if it's going to make you not to like Mayegun's show anymore, so be it. This is what I do for years. Do you understand? That's how it's always been. And you will have to love it without condition. So I'm going to still share you more longer videos that you don't like. If you are those who like to complain, it is better you just leave now. It's called bias beware or something like that. Right? Now, Dele Alake want to use every fiber in him. Okay? And it is good that it's going to be on record that he said that, so that every time he starts his actions, right, we can keep documenting them one after the other. Just same way. Do you understand? So, yeah, I've heard empty talks like that. I've heard word salad like that. But the reason why they call my platform The Diary is because I want to have them on record, on here. So that when you go back in years' time, you're not just going to hear it from my mouth. You're going to hear it from their mouth too, whether you like their faces or you don't like their faces. You just have to get used to them. And that's how it has been, and that's how it's going to be. Again, I'm going to take you to that of El-Rufai. El-Rufai and the damages is already caused in Southern Kaduna on record. The genocide in Southern Kaduna is more pronounced because El-Rufai never aid his own prejudice towards Christians as well as the people of Southern Kaduna. I don't know why. I wouldn't know. If you are elected as a governor of a state, I bet everybody in that state should be your responsibility, including their own safety, Abi. That wasn't the case of El-Rufai. I never hid it. So one of the things that the people of Kaduna were praying, Southern Kaduna were praying for, was that one day El-Rufai will leave that office. He will have no immunity, locally and internationally, and they can really go after him. And all of the crimes he perpetuated, including the genocide that took place in Southern Kaduna. But is he going to get punished? No, he's never going to get punished. He is going to be rewarded. So today, there were those who were speaking for him too. It wasn't yesterday. There were those who were speaking for him. And I want to have that on record too. Now listen, if you don't like El-Rufai's face as well, you can possibly just kind of, excuse yourselves. So my friends who are with those spanners, yeah, please, if you see anybody dropping that kind of repeated comment, like remove this person, please do me that favor. Help me remove that person and his comments, please. There are distractions. They do that a lot. They keep dropping it in the comments, okay? When you see anybody who keeps repeating that, please help me remove them. I'll also be watching. If you don't like his face at this point, please don't watch again, right? Let's go in there where they had El-Rufai on seat as well, ladies and gentlemen.
Kind of in double jeopardy. At any point in time, we are out of subsidy of oil. But I'm happy that I had sometime in January or February this year, the federal government back out in the issue of paying subsidy to energy. So how do you intend to balance that? Because the generation, when it's sent to disco, the generation don't lose their money in any way. They go straight to get their funds from the guarantee given by the federal government. instead of guarantee given by the discourse. That's number 2. The last one, Mr. President, the nominee is still on the discourse. We knew that the global practice, water, power is not a social kind of program given just for free. But in Nigeria, reverse is the case. We are looking at it as a social services, which is not. So this discourse in place, where I and you in those days, we have done a lot of work as a part of our responsibility in governance to improve the supply. But for them to take even a clerk who will be collecting funds for them to remit back to the generation, they are not doing it. And we know it can go on ultimatum that no need for any other person. As we're doing our phone, we're taking our phone in the house, you meet about 6 people with the telephone site, a minimum of at least 5,000, 6,000 per set. And also we recharge every week at least 300, 1,000.
President, I want to first thank the distinguished senators for the very warm remarks made on my person and on my public service record. I want to convey my gratitude to the Senate for this recognition. My brother, the distinguished senator from Zamfara State and our former chairman of the Governors Forum, asked 3 questions, all centered around the electricity supply industry. I will take them together because they are all connected. My brother asked about how do we ramp up generation and distribution. What do we do about the privatized discourse and the issues of subsidies and illiquidity around them, and the various guarantees that have so far costed the government more than 1.6 trillion after privatization. Your Excellencies, the electricity supply situation in Nigeria has defied every government for 60 years. It has defied every president. President Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu is committed to ensuring that Nigeria has stable and reliable electricity supply. Because without electricity, industrialization is a pipe dream. Without electricity, even agriculture today is not a viable proposition. So he's committed to that, and he has asked me to work with him to address these problems. And I will do my best to do so. Your Excellencies, right now Nigeria has about 13,000 megawatts of installed generation capacity, but we hardly do more than 4,000 or 5,000 megawatts. So to improve generation, the first order of business is to look at what is constraining the full production of electricity from these 13,000 megawatts. Why do we have 13,000 installed and only 4,000 or 5,000 being produced? Many of the generation stations cannot produce because of poor supply of gas. 80% of our generation is from gas, and the balance is hydro. The gas-fired stations often don't have supply of gas. There are power stations that have been completed 2 or 3 years ago, and they have produced nothing because there is no gas supply. So that's another thing that must be addressed. We must ensure that gas and power are together under one roof for this issue of gas supply, which has persisted for over 20 years, to be resolved. But Your Excellency, even if we are able to generate 13,000 megawatts today. Our transmission infrastructure can only do 5,000, maybe 6,000 at best. So the second major constraint in electricity supply in Nigeria is the transmission infrastructure. We need to close the loop in our transmission system so that the 13 system collapses we had in 2022 are not repeated again in our history. And this can be done. There is money to expand the transmission infrastructure. We just need to organize ourselves, remove politics from transmission procurement, and focus on improving our transmission infrastructure. The third problem is distribution. In 2013, we work with you to build a Nigeria that is not corrupt.
I bring you a message of hope. We are going to spend a lot of resources on education. We will work with you.
Thank you. So El-Rufai rolling out those numbers, I wanted him to say what he said when I stopped that clip. When he said, after all the numbers and all the jargons there, right? Then he said, there is money. But if we can remove politics from it, from electricity generation and distribution in Nigeria, Nigerians will have power. What is that politics? The politics is that you will be reading about the unbundling of electricity, this privatization of this or that, all lies. When it comes to distribution, the Nigerian system prioritize northern Nigeria more than the more industrialized south. So they will tell you, you will generate electricity from southern Nigeria, and they will move it straight to up north. They generate electricity from up north. They shed them right there in northern Nigeria. So load shedding is more common in southern Nigeria than northern Nigeria. So you get that now. And it is all politics of power. Okay? The northern Nigeria will have more electricity, even though the most industrialized part of Nigeria is in the south. That actually needed the electricity even more. The most populated part of Nigeria is in the southern Nigeria. But the politics that is always saying the north is more, has made it easier for them to shed all this on to that part of Nigeria, and the rest can go in darkness. So he mentioned it. And that alone is a signal to tell you that if you are smart enough, forget about all other things he was saying in there, right? That tells you everything you need to know, because nothing changes when it comes to the political intention of underdeveloping Nigeria or looting Nigeria. It is their way. It is politics. And that's why a lot of people don't kind of fancy their words. And I understand that. But don't tell me to take them off, okay? Don't tell me to always take them because you don't like their faces. They are part of the story. Listen to what they are saying. Hold them to it. So even if they have to ask you why you are angry, at least you can have something to say. Well, I'm angry because of this, and that are mostly on fact. So help you God. Anyway, here is another one. Look at this lady. She is a Dr. Vaire. She was doing housemanship, okay, at a general hospital in Lagos Island. Now, almost 2 weeks to the end of that housemanship, she had an accident in a faulty elevator in Lagos, right? So they said this the lift in this building has been faulty for months, and it's been reported for months. Nothing was done about this. Now, yesterday or so, the lady had an accident in that same lift when the lift lost its control from the 10th floor And imagine you being in a lift that has lost its control and smashed to the ground. When it finally hit the ground, like, people die right away. She didn't. So they rushed her to the same general hospital, and the general hospital that she works or so. When they got there, they said there was no blood. She's lost so much blood that a doctor, right, couldn't get a blood transfusion to save her. She died. And do you know what so our colleagues and everybody, they were so angry, enraged, and they started complaining, started protesting, seriously, like, And do you know what the wife of the governor of Lagos said to say to this? Well, before GMD, the group medical director or so of that same general hospital, when she met with the protesters, she told them that they should protest mindfully. That they should be careful of what they say or do because of this, what happened though. They should protest mindfully and watch their mouth. When the wife of the governor of Lagos State, Ibirunke, got to the same scene, and then she was addressing them, Pastor Mrs. Ibirunke said, that it was something that has to do with, spiritual arrow. That's what killed her. Spiritual arrow in a 40 lift, from the wife of a governor of the state. That is not shocking.
Rejoicing. An arrow has been fired into the health family. 1st of August is a day I will never forget. The same day a helicopter crashed. The same day a lift dropped down. How? Rejoicing. An arrow has
the 1st of August, if you look at it in the spiritual realm, the 1st of August is a very kinikon. Helicopter crashed. Do you know that there are still so many other plane crashes that you're going to witness in Nigeria very soon? And it has nothing to do with spiritual or what have you. Your aviation sector is so corrupt, very, very deeply corrupt, that they have been passing on what should have been professional inspection or investigation and approval and the rest of that before they can let them actually fly. All those clearance, health check, and all of these things, they have all been compromised. And to make it worse, some of them are unable to even pay their pilots anymore. Now, all of this are going on behind the scene, and they are still loading all of you inside their planes. Just wait for it. They will tell you it's probably the spiritual this and that. Corruption destroys. Corruption kills. And you know that is exactly what is killing Nigerians. Corruption. Because the consequences of corruption is death. When you have a 40 lift, all right, it shouldn't be used until it is fixed. When somebody who should be responsible for that is not. When the money that is supposed to be used for maintenance has been spent, and they ask people to manage, just manage, it's still working. It's working now. Get inside, it's working. See, it's working again. Corruption. So one day, people are going to lose their lives. Right? Corruption, where people who are meant to build and equip hospitals for you chose to spend the money and steal the money. So the consequences of that is that one day you're going to need something from that same hospital, and they will not be there. And this might be little things that would need to save your life. Can you even believe that? They had no blood in their bank there for a doctor. And she died just because she's lost so much blood. She didn't even die in the lift. Then somebody's going to turn around and say, maybe that's just what God wanted it to be. Sometimes nothing will happen without the notice of God. They are actually making you feel like justifying the failure of the system, and they blame that on God just so you can what? Feel better? So they say it's arrow. Maybe they shoot an arrow, evil arrow. That is why the arrow hit the lift. And when the arrow hit the lift lost its control, smashed, and she was rushed to the hospital. So the arrow was still there, pierced through their blood bank. Maybe the arrow drank all the blood that could save her. It's still the arrow of evil people, not the corruption of the evil humans who are actually physical. Anyway, let's go to another one. Meanwhile, let me say thank you to all of us who are kind of still here, that followed the invasion of Niger that is currently brewing. There are other updates too. So they're currently asking that they should, right? That they should, if possible, de-escalate what's going on in Niger Republic. However, the Nigerian Defense Headquarters said they are just on alert. They haven't been given the go-ahead to invade the Niger Republic. Now, Senegal is said to be warming up that they would defend, they will fight if there is any military intervention in Niger. So Russia too, who said they didn't support the coup and all that, have also advised against any military invasion in Niger. And the Wagner's group have said that they are willing to also fight there. So a lot of these are kind of like popping up here and there. And Abdusalami Abubakar and his team were seen in Niamey today trying to talk to the junta, just on the side. Their effort is to see if they can de-escalate the whole thing, that it won't lead to real war. But if it eventually has to lead to any military intervention, this is kind of an information to, for all of you who are from the core Sharia states in northern Nigeria, okay, you are likely going to also be kind of affected too, because you are those who share border with them. Borno, Sokoto, Katsina, I think it's about 7 of them. Niger as well, right? So these are areas where when the bombs start going off, right, you're likely going to be either be seeing the refugees running towards you, or you yourself will be running towards the south when the whole thing kicks off. But let's hope they will de-escalate it and let them know that it's none of Nigerians' business. So one of them said the reason why they want to fight is because that these French-speaking West African countries, right, where you have all this military coup, they said they have formed their own bloc. They were supposed to be ECOWAS, but they formed their own bloc to be outside ECOWAS. So their own bloc right now is now trying to test the power of ECOWAS. And as Nigeria is the head of the ECOWAS, they can't let that happen. That for years now, all these French-speaking West African countries they believe that they could do whatever they want and ECOWAS will do nothing. So Tinubu will not let that happen. That's why they are on standby. That's their reason, okay? They said they won't let this group of African countries to ride the roughshod on ECOWAS. So I was like, waiting concern Nigeria. What's Nigeria's business? Others said that no reasonable democratic country will allow any any military whatever government around their their border. I was like, okay, don't share what we really not today. Anyway, start the war so that we can see where that indeed will lead to, right? So going forward, again, ladies and gentlemen, I'm picking them one by one, right? So here is no, hang on. Okay, I'm going to use this as a little break. Okay, so 2 days ago, yes, or 3 days ago, the PDP, Labour, and the rest of them, they kind of closed their case against Tinubu. But today, they were saying, Peter Obi's lawyers and the legal team were saying, during Thanksgiving, that they have done all that they believe to prove that he won the election. So they wait on the judiciary, as everybody is saying. All eyes on the judiciary. I'll show you that and I'll go to the next one. Because the next one is that, ladies and gentlemen, brethren, they have also captured another, well, they've captured another vessel, stealing Nigeria crude oil. Another story. But let's go sing Praise the Lord here first.
Thanksgiving at Holy Trinity Catholic Church, my family.
What shall I say unto the Lord?
Yes, Lord.
All I have to say,
Thank you, Lord.
What
shall I say? Thank you, Lord.
What shall I say unto the Lord?
Yes, Lord.
All I have to say,
Thank you, Lord.
What
shall I say? Thank you,
Thank you, Lord. I mean, we all follow the court case, and it is worth a bit of a thanksgiving too. No offense, so look at this man. That is Gandola, the new chairman of APC, Egbekegbe. And as you have a Muslim president and vice, now you have a Muslim chairman and secretary too. I mean, they are not louding it, or they're not making it loud, what have you. But Gandola, Baba Riga Mobile Banking CEO, Baba, like, somebody will be like, say, I mean, I am APC. And this, I mean, like, people, okay, I don't know. I'll leave it at that. So, congratulations to Gandola. Congratulations to all of you. What do you call yourself again? Bat idiots. The bat idiots. As you welcome Gandola as your new chairman. Meanwhile, guys, yesterday, somewhere around Coco, I've been at Coco in Delta State. Government Polo or Tompolo, government Tompolo, and his own private security, right? You remember that they are the ones who are given the contracts, okay, to parade the Nigeria water and guide the pipelines. Abi? Yesterday they were on their own operation and they just saw this Nigerian naval boat, and at the back of it is this massive vessel with Italian flag on it. I mean, sorry, with Togolese flag on it. Waiting Togo vessel defined for Nigeria water. And why does it look like a vessel carrying the crude oil? So they approached it. As they are approaching, the Nigerian naval ship, boats ahead, they opened fire on them. Omo, Nigerian naval boats, Nigerian Navy, they were guiding stolen crude oil in a foreign vessel on Nigeria water, out of Nigeria water. So there you have the answer. Those who are stealing the crude oil and those who are aiding and abetting them. But would you ever believe it in your own widest imagination that militants will be arresting naval officers for stealing crude oil? And that is why a lot of people believe that Nigeria is not real. Nigeria is not a real place. When you listen to some of the happenings there, the best you can tell yourself is that this is not a real place, because it's not a real place. And when they finally arrested the vessel, which you probably will read in a day or two, they will tell you they have destroyed it. That's what they do. They say they destroyed the evidence. Because those who are supposed to save and protect Nigeria, they are those who are actually like selling Nigeria off. And how do you even change that? I don't know. It's exhausting, isn't it? Now, Nigeria got saved by the militant leader on a 4 billion naira a month contract. Well, that's a lot of money. 4 billion naira a month. Wow. So Tompolo and his guys, they are making over 480 billion naira doing the job that the Nigerian Navy, Nigerian military should be doing or are being paid to do. Nigeria is not a real place. I'll keep telling you. So we believe that, all of these are pointing to one single thing. When Nigeria, or let me say, as Nigeria continues in this trajectory, the characters that are sort of a grouping or coming together to start taking their own space and place. There is one explanation I also want to add. In case if you have no idea, when I said Tinubu and his 47 thieves, okay, Tinubu is going to create new ministries, right, that they're going to put people in as ministers, okay? Now, let's use this template of how much money you are using to sort of take care of the National Assembly members. Now, ordinarily or averagely, a senator in Nigeria will go home legally and illegally with over 30 million naira every month, right? But you see, a senator, when you say senator, you have about 109 of them. And as House of Representatives member will probably go home with at least 20 million to 25 million naira. Now you have 360 of them. That's a lot of money, okay? Now let's do it like this. So if you have 30 million for 100 people, that's going to be like 3 billion, Abi? Somehow, 3 billion. So plus 9 people, 270. Maybe you can say 3.2 or 3.3 billion naira. That's what those guys takes every month in the Senate. When you break that of those in the House of Representatives and the rest of them with all this free money, it probably will come around there, maybe 7-8 billion. Okay, for them, by the time you add everything together, so the House of Representatives, the Senate, right, every month, they have a way of milking at least 15 billion naira from the government covers that they pay themselves. And that's a lot of money. Abi, the difference between them and these thieves, I explain them to you. First, I'll give you an example of what an individual senator, individual minister can actually do in a space where corruption is going to be the order of the day. If a man, the lifeless may guard, Bokwari, that they told you was coming to fight corruption, could actually oversee the worst set of corrupt criminals that ever existed in Nigeria history, as corrupt as Nigeria has been, right? Then you can think and only imagine what it is going to be like around Kolu, all right? The career drug lord, the career kleptomaniac criminal himself. Just imagine it. I'll give you one example. Under Bokuwari, yeah, we have ministers who were like in a single calendar year that are milking over 100 billion of your money, that they have to siphon in different ways that actually comes out of their own, in a year. So by the time you realize what actually goes into the cover of that same minister, you realize that one single minister is in a position to actually loot the entire resources that these guys are going to share in a single month, right? Or in a single year. One single person can loot all of that, and that is just one minister. This Erika, who sold you, remember the one who sold you the Air Nigeria, that logo and the launching and the story around here Nigeria, the whole thing cost Nigeria 24 billion naira, 24 billion naira. People don't see anything. No. Last now painted plane from Ethiopia they brought to Nigeria as Nigeria Air. You remember that? Even before he brought the plane, this same guy single-handedly spent 14 billion naira to buy 14 fire truck, 1 billion naira per truck. That's how much. And he did all of this just a few months before the end of their tenure. These are the last hour rush, the one that caught the eyes of the people. So imagine what they do. They have something called the budget padding. This is where the camaraderie relationship actually really becomes a sort of profitable for them. So every ministry have their own ghost workers that they pay, they take their money out for, but they don't pay them, they pay themselves. They have all these budgets that they write bogusly, only just because they, you know what I mean, have to include their own share in that. Then the senators, the reps, and the rest of them will also add theirs. It's called budget padding. You read about billions and billions of money being budgeted for so many things. But all those things never come to reality or abandoned. This is where they scrape all of whatever they can scrape. And then you realize they go to church and do Thanksgiving when they get appointed as ministers because you are going to be a billionaire. And most of the time, they love places where they can actually, there are places they call the desert. There are places they call the, where food day. So the bottom line is this, that those before Tinubu, they managed to keep the number at least around 40. Kolu has listed the 47, the highest ever. Okay? And I don't think he has stopped because he is planning to create some new ministries. He said it already. It is compensation time. No technical or what do you call technocrat is coming. Nigeria is going through hell right now. Economically, Nigeria is down. Bokwari destroyed Nigeria to the point that Nigeria is using 98% of their revenue to service debt, which means there is no more. So these guys are not creating any new avenue for any new revenue. No, they are not. They are indeed just trying to scrape whatever they can and further stifle a lot of you who still pay those taxes. And in the process, they are creating a balloon government. Nigeria has no money, but they don't care. You will bear the brunt. So instead of cutting down the cost of governance, reducing all these portfolios and all that, no. People have to be compensated, and you would have to bear the cost. So at the end of the day, a country that needs almost any resources they can lay hands on now to combat and fight economic poverty and all that right now, that same country is creating portfolio that will continue to expend their resources on recurrent expenditures. Ladies and gentlemen, we watched it in the last 8 years. APC, budget after budget, year after year, recurrent expenditure, salaries, emoluments, packages, and the rest of that for these criminals are more than the budgets for education, healthcare, what do you call it, infrastructure, and even the economy. We have seen that happen again and again. Job for the boys in a poor country where all of them will need their own convoy. They will need their own bulletproof cars. They will need, like, there is no end to this. The one way where this is going to end is that when they crumble and crash, your criminal leaders that you see today, those ones you think are untouchable, they will begin to find a way to escape from Nigeria. That time is almost near. I have been told, maybe you didn't know that, I didn't myself, that there are actually there are so many secret airfields in Nigeria. You want me to explain that? They're like private airfields built by these criminals. They have already built their escape routes if things go south. That means most of their private jet and the rest of them, they are docked in some of these their private islands across Nigeria. Find them, discover them. In fact, a lot of them will begin to come to light soon. You see this trajectory where they are taking all of this madness to, and those who are coming in to renew your shege, and those who are coming to bully you with the power they think they have, man, tell them they cannot be as smart as Bokwari. And as smart as Bokwari was, we humbled him, and he became exactly what he was meant to be. Okay? A tyrant, clueless tyrant, a dictator, right? And also a criminal, a kleptomaniac plutocrat, right? Who only came to do three things. Yeah, they came to steal, they came to destroy, and they came to kill. APC, Egbekegbe. So, I'm giving you this heads up, right? If you are building any sort of expectation, I will continue to bust that bubble. Because you need to build the expectation on people you know their track records. People don't change. Do you understand? Right? But yeah, they unravel. But you see these characters whose career and life is politics and what they have earned from it. They've not given anything back, have they? They've always been taken and taken and taken. There is no trait or sign that they are going to stop that. So you have to feed them more, and you would have to bear the brunt more. So if things continue like this is not a good trajectory. It is not a time where somebody is going to come in and start, bombarding us with all kind of, intimidation, lies, bullying, because you think you have that power, right? If you want to use propaganda to run a country, you must also, at least, do good. Okay? So thank you. I was going to take calls, but I'm thinking I should move that till next time, where we can have a proper full house convo. So thank you so much for your time. And again, thanks for coming to my TED Talk. All right? If you are looking for any good news from Nigeria, you can make one up yourself. Okay? The only good news that's coming from Nigeria is that somebody is bringing you the truth that is happening in Nigeria. That's the good news. But if you are looking for any sort of any good news and all that, I advise you, turn on your Netflix. When it comes to that of Nigeria, it is real life issue. It is not a cloud. Every event, everything that happened that is reported, ladies and gentlemen, there is always one life or more that is being affected. So if you want something that should entertain you, good news. Just £10. You can have a Netflix. And there are so many things that can share you up there. But if you want to be real, where things are real, happening, you can watch my Egun's Diary Political. And with that, you probably will have an idea where you really belong. I have said it before many times, just before I go. No matter where you belong to in this whole contraption, whether you are in or you are out, all right? Whether you are for or you are against, listen to me. Until the day everybody knows that we are all victims of these criminals and all they are doing, right? We are all victims in the sense that nobody is spared. None of us is spared from the consequences of all this bad leadership and bad governance. You know that? Whether you bleed for them, right? Or you hunt for them, it doesn't really matter. Until the day all of us realizes that There is no Yoruba, there is no Igbo, there is no Hausa, there is no Fulani, there is no Igede, there is no Igala, there is no Efik, there is no Ijo, there is no all this that you want to be identified as when it comes to Nigeria and the victimhood that we all are of, right? There is no Christian, there is no Muslim, there is no traditionalist or atheist. Listen, some said it's class war. I kind of partly agree. But when you want to really live in the reality, you also know that even those who thought they were rich or kind of above board of the consequences of all of these things are beginning to realize that they are not spared. I mean, those who live abroad knows that they are not spared. We all live on a borrowed time. And I will remind you, okay, when it comes to Nigeria, it doesn't matter where you belong, right? Yesterday's survivors are today's victims. You see, those who survived today, they are tomorrow's victims. You and I, who have been surviving day after day, we are only disasters, or what do you call it, disasters waiting to happen. And as it is always the case, when this hasn't happened to me, if it's not happening to me, maybe it is not even happening. Maybe it's just an exaggeration, okay? But you see that day when everybody realizes that we have a common enemy, and that is the establishment, who have no religion, no tribe, no class, no culture, no nothing. These guys they relate with themselves. They are from every part of Nigeria. They are from your tribe. They are from mine. They are from your religion. They are from me, who has no religion as well. A lot of them, when it comes to, but they have something in common. They are united in their evil. From the north to south, to east to west, to central, whatever. We are all victims of this failed country. The characters who failed Nigeria and Nigerians, although they didn't do it themselves alone. A lot of you are collaborators. But unfortunately, the day, you see that day that you watch Mayegu and you look at me and say, Mayegu, I think I have realized what you've been saying. The only one common enemy who actually has contributed to everything that everybody is complaining about today in every part of Nigeria, they are those who once promised you that they will make your life better. So until that day, I will never stop talking then, all right? So thank you for coming to my TED Talk again. I will see you some other time. Now, until then, please don't leave without liking the broadcast. And subscribe if you can, or if you haven't already. So good night.
Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Mayegun làwa mọ̀ làmọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Mayegun ti dé o ọ̀rẹ́ ara yìí. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Lórí Facebook, lórí YouTube. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Gbogbo bó ṣe ń lọ ni Mayegun já wa sí. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Àṣírí ọ̀jẹ̀lú kì í bò níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Bó bá ṣe eré àní Mayegun máa wí. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Ó sì tún ṣe eré wàá gbọ́ níbẹ̀ o. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Mayegun Diary politico. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Godfatherism kò sí lọ́rọ̀ Mayegun. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Ẹ farabalẹ̀ sẹ́ o kẹgọ́rọ̀ lẹ́nu o. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Àní Mayegun làwa mọ̀ tó dòdòdò. Mayegun Diary Nayibi #1. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Mayegun ti dé. Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. Lórí Facebook. Mayegun ti dé. Àní ẹ̀sùn rákì. Mayegun ti dé. lórí YouTube.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bọ́ bàbá gbé wúrẹ́.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ijó ìgbádìyẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bí pẹ̀sìdó bá rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Bí gómìnà kówó jẹ.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọlọ́pàá tí ń darí bá.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Aṣòfin tí ń rúfin o.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Òpùrọ́ olóṣèlú.
Máyégún máa wí.
Àní ẹ̀sùn lájú.
Máyégún ti dé.
Ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Àní ẹ̀sùn ràkì.
Máyégún ti dé.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀ o, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Wọ́n fowó bẹ́ẹ̀, Máyégún ó sọ pé wọ́n ò bẹ́ẹ̀. Oníkanṣá ti ṣe èyí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, fáwọn ará ìlú tó gbé wọn débẹ̀ o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Ha! Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Kì máa yí ṣe eré, ọ̀rọ̀ yìí kì í ṣe ẹ̀fẹ̀. Ẹni bá ti lè lẹ́bọ̀ lẹ́rù o, ọmọ bá dèrò kàṣàyè tú wọn síta.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.
Tẹnitẹni ọmọ Máyégún ọ̀rẹ́ ara ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni mo fọlọ́run ṣọ́ ẹ̀ bá kìlẹ́bù. Lóòótọ́ olódodo ìlú ọ̀tá ìlú mọ̀mọ́ ni ìwọ ṣá máa ń ṣọ́ra kò sì mọ́ bẹ̀rù. Bọ́tà ń lè rí bóníṣègùn lé káwọn mọ̀mọ́ fi ṣera wọn ni ó ti dẹrùn tí wọn ò gbọ́dọ̀ sì mọ́ bẹ̀. Èèpo ọ̀bọ lọmọ bá dérò tàjẹ́ ò gbọ́dọ̀ jẹ́, ó ti jọba lórí àbínú ẹni kò sì mọ́ bùyà. Àìsíwọ́lu ní ẹnìkẹ́ ìgbódì ẹyin lábàrá o, ó kó ẹni tó bá dán wò á kàmù. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì o. Ẹni bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dèrò òní fi wọ́n níran o.
Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Máyégún ti dé. Gbogbo ọ̀jẹ̀lú ẹ̀sùn ràkì. Ṣùgbọ́n ní bá ti ṣe yìí tó yẹ kí wọ́n ṣe, ọmọ bá dẹ́rọ̀ ò ní fi wọ́n níran.